YouTube, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to the show. We got something major lined up here. I don't know if you've been attention, but I got you. XRP right now, it is absolutely exploding. In the first 90 minutes of that brand new ETF, it did $24 million in volume. That is 5 times more than any XRP future ETF did on day one. Think about that for a second. Insane, right? Trust me. I know, but buckle up because it gets way bigger than that. Grayscale is about to uplift their massive crypto fund to the New York Stock Exchange, meaning Wall Street money's here. Pension, hedge funds, all of it. It is all about the pump into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And guess what? Ripple's October Swell Conference, it has Fidelity and BlackRock on the guest list, but no one knows why they're really there. Something major is brewing. And to top it all off, Ripple stepping into a $12 trillion repo market with DBS Bank and Franklin Templeton using RLUSD as the settlement layer. Folks, this isn't hype. This is the infrastructure we've been talking about. This is the volume. This is October, just a couple of weeks away. I don't think you're prepared for what's about to happen. I really don't. We're going to jump into all of it. And it starts right now. Let's talk about what just happened because it's blowing everyone's expectations out of the water. Once again, XRP is shocking the markets. Go figure. Who would have thought it, right? The Bitcoiners, they hate us XRP holders. Ethereum maxis can't stand us. Why? Because we're right. And we've been right this entire time. And now it's starting to show their precious little Bitcoin. Guess what? XRP, that's what the institutions want. The future contract showed it. The ETF showed it. Grayscale is now showing it to you. The White House is telling you about it. All these major companies going to Ripple Swell event, they're letting you know too. We've been right this whole time. Give yourself the old pat on the back here, folks. We've been right. We nailed this one. So here you go. Ask yourself this question. What do you think happens in October? When we get real spot XRP ETFs, what do you think is going to happen? If these hybrid ETFs are producing 24 million right off the bat like that, what do you think a true holding, a true exposure is going to do? Look at this. You can't make this up. $24 million, everyone. XRP ETF Rex Osprey. If this doesn't get you hyped for October, I don't know what's going to do it. I could come on here screaming, shouting, yelling all the time. Do we need to phone a friend, everyone? Do we got to phone a friend? Hello, friend? Yeah. XRP, guess what? It's going to the moon. Yeah, you heard? October. When? October. Say it again. October. October, everyone. This thing is going to explode. And it doesn't end then. And it goes into November. And it keeps going. And it goes higher and higher and higher. And you don't know what to do. You're in your share. You're shaking up. You don't believe it. You're asking people to pinch you. You don't even know because you think it's all a dream. It's not. This is the moment we have waited for. This is it right now. It's starting. Do you think BlackRock, Fidelity, JP Morgan, they're going to be like, ding dong, guess what? We're going to start pumping ETF. No, we knew this was coming. We've seen the writing on the wall and everything is lining up. Look what Eric says. He's in a semi-shock. Eric's from Bloomberg. Folks, this guy works for Bloomberg. He's seen it all. He's seen all the Bitcoin ETFs. He's seen the Ethereum ETFs. He's seen institutions on stage. He's spoken with people from the institutions. He spoke with people from BlackRock. He spoke to his Bloomberg analysts. He talked to them all. And he's in a semi-shock right now. He states the Rex XRP ETF is already at $24 million. That is way more than I thought. He said, for context, it is 5x more than any of the XRP future ETFs did on day one. And guess what? It's only been 90 minutes. Let that sink in. That's scary. Could you imagine when there's 18 ETFs? Woo-hoo-hoo. And folks, look, let's just hit pause for a second because if you're watching this and if you don't have a strategy in place for XRP or any of your cryptos, well, you're going to get left behind. That is exactly why these one-on-one strategy calls are open. To find your winning XRP strategy with yours truly. On this call, we'll cut through the noise. You're going to stop guessing. We're going to build you a clear, actionable plan for XRP that is tailored to your goals. But here's the deal. These spots are almost gone. I am keeping this insanely limited because I want this to be high impact, folks, not some generic Zoom call. So if you want in, Do not wait. Hit that link below. Book your session and lock in your edge before the market drip even higher. And because by the time most people wake up, guess what? Those easy entries, they're all going to be gone. Then we get this. So how does XRP get to $1,000? My boys from EZA, well, they broke it down. Listen to this. We're going to listen to this clip, and then what I have in store for you next in regards to ETFs, a little insight about Ripple Swell, and a little insight to the largest bank in Singapore that is working with Ripple. It's going to blow your mind. Here we go.
Was it based on the SWIFT model starting to shift, the growth of the XRP ledger, or potentially the growth of stablecoin, or kind of a combination of all?
Yeah, I mean, that's an interesting question, and a lot of people asked for the sort of more detailed explanation, which I'm currently working on sort of putting out. But I think for the purpose of this, at a high level at least, it's a combination of all of them. Obviously, SWIFT is a big component, but then a lot of it is actually driven by the use cases
By the use cases. ETF is the biggest use case we have seen year to date for XRP. That's institutional money. Keep listening.
We're actually seeing on the ground, in person, in real life, all of these incredible projects that are coming out and actually utilizing the XRP ledger in different ways. Obviously, DeFi and finance are a huge use case, but then also, like I was talking about before, billions and billions are transferred internationally from, people in the US to people abroad, both in terms of business, remittances, but then also in terms of charity and all sorts of use cases. And ultimately, when those applications really start to get used on an institutional level, that's really where you start to see not only more activity on the XRP ledger, obviously a huge, multiple times explosion, but also you start to see people focus more in terms of just retail, looking at the tech underlying. That's why companies like Nvidia, for example, have seen 1,000-fold increases in the price, is because retail start to come and they start to see, oh, okay, AI is really taking off now. What's the best way I can actually invest in that? It's through.
So let's stop it there again. Talking about retail, what do you think happens when BlackRock, JP Morgan, all of these institutions start launching these ETFs? They get on the phone, they call their clients. So like, hey, if you want to have a little bit of crypto exposure, we now have this ETF, the BlackRock XRP ETF, the JP Morgan XRP ETF. Why don't we dabble in it? Put 1% of your portfolio or 0.5%, whatever it may be. That is how the word starts to get out. Let's keep listening.
The products that Nvidia makes. And so ultimately, I think, that's going to be a really interesting part of the whole story, is when, those sort of 93% of people, obviously, less accounting people who don't have access to the internet, et cetera, but, that huge proportion of people who don't currently own crypto come into the space and, figure out that XRP exists.
Right. And once they figure out that XRP exists, it is on. And then we get this, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. Look what we got cooking, folks. The Grayscale Digital Large Cap Fund LLC. That's right. What is this? Well, you thought it couldn't get any crazier. It got crazier. This is going to be trading under the ticker GDLC, and it's about to uplist to the New York Stock Exchange and convert itself into a full-on blown ETF. There you go. And you don't want to know what's included in this? There's 5 cryptocurrencies in this, folks. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, and the one and only XRP. So why does this matter? Well, it's simple. Until now, a lot of institutional investors, they've been restricted. They couldn't touch OTC funds. They couldn't directly buy crypto on the exchange. Too much red tape. But once these hit the New York Stock Exchange, it's game on. Retirement accounts, wealth managers, hedge funds, IRAs, all of them, suddenly, one click, boom, done. They can own a basket of crypto that's going to have the 5 most valuable cryptos in them: Bitcoin, ETH, Solana, XRP, and ADA. So look, XRP, maybe it's only 4 to 6% of the basket, but 4 to 6% of billions flowing in a tidal wave of exposure, well, that's not retail money we're talking about. We're talking about the institutions allocating at scale. Now, I asked my good old friend, Chat Mr. GP, is this good? Like, are we just crazy and we see these funds come out and we just start building it up? But is it really good? Well, go to Chat GPT. It's really good. And it also talks about the regulatory signal. And it says the SEC approving a multi-asset spot. Remember, these are spot ETFs that include XRP is asset. It states up to now, most SEC approved spot products have been limited to Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is a quiet but powerful signal that XRP is being treated as a legitimate asset along Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and ADA. So you know what this tells me right here, since that this has been approved? October, the floodgate opened for all of these ETFs, everyone. That's it. Remember, they can't kick the can down the road anymore, the SEC. They need to make a decision. Why does it matter for price? Well, let's talk about it. Let's see what AI thinks, because if you ask Rip's going to tell you this is what you want for price. It says this doesn't mean XRP explodes tomorrow, but it does mean XRP is now structurally tied to Wall Street's capital allocation in a way it wasn't before. It states every inflow into this ETF, a slice of the inflow goes into XRP. And over time, these kinds of flows compound and reduce the circulating liquidity on exchanges, fueling price upside. You know what I just heard right there? Supply shock. Like a vacuum, it's going to suck up the XRP. And this is just one. We are going to see many of these baskets. For those of you who've been following me, we've talked about this. We talked about these crypto baskets of ETFs. And the more that XRP is included, the more supply that is taking off. When we look at all of the spot ETFs that are coming to 19 right now, all of that will remove XRP from the circulating supply. When we look at these treasury companies, all of that will remove XRP from the circulating supply. And when XRP gets removed from the circulating supply, we run into a supply shock where price is forced to go up. Look, pay attention to what is going on with these ETFs, the volume that is coming in. Pay attention to October. XRP's chart is one of the most bullish charts in all of crypto. October is called Uptober for a reason. We will pump in October. We will continue pumping into November. I've been preaching Q4 as the most bullish time in crypto. You need to get ready. You need to prepare. You need to lock in. If you don't have your call booked, those spots are running out. Get it booked. Hit that thumbs up, and I'll catch all y'all on the next one.